Right, wrote everything down 5 times. That result is not going to have anything to do with my decision. I hope to coach till I can't. This summer, it looks like I'm probably going to have knee surgery. I don't know what else I can say. I mean, that game will have nothing to do with what Roy Williams does with the rest of his life. I've changed. I guess for 4 years I said I wanted to coach 6 to 10 more years. And I thought it was silly for me to say that 4 years ago and still say it now. So I went down 1. I said I hope to coach 5 to 9 more years. That's what I said in the home last week. And so that's all I can say is, it's just like that question about the dictating. Some of you, I didn't dictate. I told them you don't have to ask me, I'll tell you. Boeheim's one said, ask Roy that question. That's somebody dictating the question. But can you answer anything about it?
I hope you coach 9 more of that. Okay, good.
5 to 9, I'd be
I'll take
66 this summer. I could 75. If I have to walk out on the court and they set a chair down on the court for me to coach out of a chair, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. I've got to be able to move around. This year was harder because it was the first part of the season I'd go sit down for 30 seconds and then get up. The last part of the year I wasn't having to do that. And I don't know if it's my knees got better, the brace helped it more. I was just stubborn and wouldn't sit down. I don't know which one it was, but it could have been all of the above. But I do. If I were going to quit, I sure as a Dickens wouldn't have seen 4 kids in an 18-hour period last Thursday and Friday.
Kennedy,
I know you had your knees addressed last summer. What's the continuing problem that you have to deal with here?
On the inside, the medial side, I think is the correct terminology. I've been to the doctors quite a bit, and I'm bone on bone now, and it looks like the next step is knee replacement. And so I have appointments already set up with 4 doctors because I'm going to go talk to 4 different people, and I'm going to ask them, what would you do if this were your knees that we would look at out of this x-ray? And then the next question, what would you do if this were your son's knees? Because I might do something, I want my son to do something different. I want those doctors to tell me the same daggone thing. And I've had 4 sets of shots in my knees. We'll have another one tomorrow morning to see if I can play golf for the next 3 weeks. And if I can't, then I'll do it immediately after that. And if I can, I may put it off for a while. But I have 4 appointments already set up to visit with the doctors. And I got people coming out of the woodworks telling me, oh, I had this done 10 years ago. Man, right now the score is 87 to 13. Talked to 100 people, and 87 loved it, 13 are negative. Any of you guys got a new knee? Can't help my survey then.
Have you considered calling Coach K?
No, but we have talked. Very straightforward. When we started to shake hands over the camera, I said, are you going to have your knee replaced? And he said, yeah. He said, are you? And I said, yeah, why don't you go first so you can be the guinea pig? That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said.
We were hoping they'd share a room, but that didn't come about.
That's what happens when you make the Final Four. You were not available.
As we're
And
now
one of the-
deteriorating, a couple more, please.
That's right. And one of the doctors of my Final Four is the same doctor that did Mike's.
Which knee? Which
Both.
knee is both?
Yeah. The right's a little worse than left. The right's one I wear the brace on.
So we're talking replacement for both?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's been what answer.
Oh, depending on this, well, right.
You know, I'm not talking that way. You know, God gave me these 2s. I just didn't keep the suckers.
I haven't been listening much.
I just want to make sure.
You haven't been listening, and I've answered the same question 5 times,
I'm with you.
6 times for Andrew.
You're dictating now.
Yeah. At least you didn't ask me about the green room.
Roy, you mentioned.
No, as a matter of fact, John, I'll say this too. One of the things I said to you, and I think it was in Houston, you'll have to decide where it was. I think it was in Houston. You were over on my left side. When you said something about, I'll cut to the chase, about people criticize, say I should do this and I should do that. And my wife said I didn't do a very good job explaining it. And what I meant to say, if I didn't, was that I should know more, not just be more intelligent, but I should know more about my team than anybody else, because I'm with them every day. And then I got to the point that you go to baseball. She said I was acting like you were the one criticizing, and that was not the way I interpreted the question, but it was. I mean, you think about it, who knows more about North Carolina basketball team than anybody? Not just that I'm smarter. Okay, let's get that straight. But I don't go. You know, I was invited to go to Yankees opening day. I liked where I was a lot better, especially since they canceled it or whatever they did. that was the thing, is not just, she said I was just saying I was smarter than everybody. I said I am about North Carolina basketball. But that's what it was. It's because, again, aren't you going to go somebody and see some game or something sometime this week? That's what it was. And you guys have to cover everything. I don't have to cover. I'm going to the North Carolina, South Carolina baseball game tomorrow. And I'm going to sit over and clap, you know, that kind of thing. But she scolded me, as a lot of other people have been doing recently too, so I want to make sure you understood, for everybody else, as long as you're all right.
They all want to come to practice next year now, so.
There's these guys, but seriously, I was shocked, I think was it Luke? Somebody said.
I think Luke
Yeah.
and John.
John, yeah. Every year I've ever coached, we've always had one day as open. Now, I threaten to kill anybody if they tell the media about it, but, I mean, we have one day open every year I've ever coached, every year. And even late in the season, I don't stop it. We've done it every year for 28 years. And we have 3 retired faculty that come every day. And they sit up there, they've been great.
Tell Ms. Wanda I said thanks.
All right. I'll tell her you appreciate her concern.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Kennedy said in Houston that he felt like he got a spark when you guys got to Philadelphia, and that spark wasn't always there during the year. How challenging a season was this for him? And also, how challenging was it for you dealing with him as he went through this?
He said that he got a spark?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, it's like I said earlier, I told them all, because I've been there. Nobody on this team had ever been there. That every step you take, it gets more fun, more exciting. Yeah, more stress for coaches, but it really is. And I think that getting to Philadelphia, as I said, will be something those kids will remember for the rest of their lives. I mean, they will. And it's, I mean, for me, there's no way anybody could be luckier than Roy Williams, because I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I mean, I wanted to coach because I wanted to play my whole life, and I couldn't do that. And so coaching is what I wanted to do. I mean, I'm sitting in the locker room and I feel like except for my family, the rest of my life is just crumbled. And then Michael Jordan walks up behind me and hugs me, you know, and I ask him to go in and talk to my team. I didn't even go in there and listen to what he said. So to me, there's a spark there about how much I care. And there's also a spark to try to help kids through some more difficult times. And Kennedy had the ups and downs, particularly with his knee. And sometimes his play, and I mean, Kennedy goes 1 for 8 in the national championship game. I can't erase that. But I can tell him the ball didn't go in the basket. But I still thought you were doing good things, or I wouldn't put you back in. But when you get to Philadelphia, somebody else wants to come in the press conference, huh? All right. But it was a kind of thing that every kid, you got to deal with their emotions during the course of the year. I've never had a player whose performance and appeal from other people varied more than Marcus's did. Never had that. But yet every day he was a warrior, and every day he was a joy to be with. But as coach, that's part of the stuff you have to do and need to do and should do, is dealing with kids' emotions and getting them through the tough spots and hopefully accentuating the really good spots, emphasizing that more and getting them to try to understand what they did to have those kind of moments too. But Kennedy, Marcus, Kennedy, I'm trying to think quickly. I think they would probably had the more emotional years than anybody else, unless you guys think of somebody I'm just leaving out. I mean, Joel was pretty consistent. Justin was not as consistent as he wanted to be, but not at a high level. Isaiah was pretty doggone consistent, yet he didn't, at the last 8 or 10 games, wasn't as good as it was before. But I mean, can you imagine losing the national championship game and saying that publicly? I mean, I was crushed when I have to read that he said it was his man and his fault. That was hard. And so that's really the only reason we had the team meeting on Wednesday. I said, son, that is not true. I appreciate it, but North Carolina is who didn't step up, make a play, and if we had, Christian could may have made the shot anyway.
You talked a lot, particularly early on in the preseason, about how open you are to having one-and-done type players. Do you feel that this rule change with allowing the guys to go kind of through the evaluation process takes pressure off of programs that don't have the one-and-done reputation quite as significantly as others do to throw their name out there and make sure that players, like, do you think that opens the playing field a little bit for programs with all sorts of reputations for having guys leave or stay?
The last part I did understand, and I'm not sure I got the rest of it. The last part, I think it is good because it opens the door for more people to consider it. You know, some guys will consider it that shouldn't all the time, but I think this makes it more valid because they've got more information, and I like that part of it. And so I do like that part of programs. I would, you know, it's like I said about John Calipari. I recruit the same guys. He just gets them.
Right.
You know, that's all it was. But I'm still going to try to recruit some of those guys. It's just that I want some guys that are going to hang around for 4 years. I like a balance. I like inside scoring, outside scoring. I like bad left knee, bad right knee. I don't know. It's just the way I am kind of thing, but I like balance.
I guess what I meant about the schools is, do you think the new rule will disperse the one and dones a little better across teams now
No.
that every school has
No.
it?
I think they're going to look on draft night and see who was drafted the most and which coach comes in and talks more about one and done than they do about the education or whatever the rest of us talk about.
Roy, along those lines, real quick, you mentioned, I think it was kind of a throwaway line, maybe before the first game of the tournament, how kids nowadays don't even know who Michael Jordan was to an extent, like recruits. Do you find that to be true, or was that just kind of a throwaway line, or do you have to explain?
A little bit of
who this
both.
guy was?
You know, I mean, 15 years ago I said everybody thinks Michael Jordan invented the game. But now, nobody on my team remembers seeing him play a game on TV. Now they see some of the classic ESPN classics or what that is, or see some of the commercials, and they know who he is, to say the least. I mean, I think he and Ali were the two greatest figures in my lifetime in sports. Arnold Palmer would be in that group, I guess. So it's not really a throwaway line, but think of that. Nobody on my team ever saw Michael Jordan play a game. And so that's pretty amazing. It's like last year I was at Kansas. Summer before my last year, we were having camp. And I introduced Danny Manning to the people. I mean, he was National Player of the Year, the #1 pick, won a national championship, and, 1,200 kids. And I'm dumbfounded. And then the next speaker is Drew Gooden. God, they're jumping up and down and screaming, because he was just on our Final Four team, 3 months ahead of that. And so I'm sitting back and I realized that there was nobody in that crowd that was in school, grammar school, when Danny Manning had played. So that's part of it too. It just changes. Right now, for the last 2 years and the next 5 years, people think Steph Curry invented the game, and rightfully so. So it's partly a throwaway line, but it does mean about what we're talking about now. It's and everybody around them, everybody thinks that the next Michael, the next Steph. I got one more, and not that I have to go, but
Can you empathize with Jordan's speed? Good.
that was the hardest. I mean, I really like the guy. I really do. And Schottmer, one of our linebackers, played with him in baseball, and I love that part of it. And I've talked to him and talked to his dad, who told Jordan Spieth, said, "Are you sure you want to put all your eggs in one basket? I don't know how smart that is." I'm sure Schottmer or Jeff will call me on that. But I got an upset stomach. I mean, I felt so badly for that kid, and it was a kid. He still is 22 years old. That was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. When he walked off the 9th green, he has a 5-shot lead, 7 under to 2. And then all of a sudden, it's the only comical thing I can say is I got a text from a buddy of mine that said he would have paid a lot of money to have your shot on number 12 last spring, because I made it 2 of them. So. Thanks, guys.